Welcome to MoneyRx for CRNAs. I'm Brett Fellows, Certified Financial Planner. Can you retire at age 60 with $1 million? You've done everything right as a CRNA. You've survived the grueling school years, mastered one of the most demanding roles in healthcare, and have saved diligently for decades. And now you're staring at your account statements showing you seven figures, and you're asking yourself the million-dollar question. Can I finally retire at 60? But when many CRNAs with substantial savings seek answers to retirement planning, they often fall into what I call the million-dollar retirement trap. The million-dollar retirement trap is where CRNAs and other high-earning professionals become paralyzed by the gap between having a lot of money and knowing whether their savings can actually sustain their lifestyle for potentially 40 plus years of retirement. And here's how this trap developed. For decades, the financial industry has simplified retirement planning down to hitting arbitrary savings targets. They will tell you to save $1 million or maybe $2 million without ever connecting that number to your actual life. And the media reinforces this with headlines like "You need $1.5 million to retire comfortably," completely ignoring that a CRNA in rural Alabama has vastly different needs than one in San Francisco. And this creates a dangerous situation where successful savers, people who have done everything right, become paralyzed by uncertainty. They have substantial savings, but lack the framework to confidently answer when they can stop working. And as a result, I see accomplished CRNAs delaying retirement for years, working shifts they no longer enjoy, missing precious time with family, all while having more than enough to retire safely. The million-dollar retirement trap has become the greatest obstacle preventing dedicated healthcare professionals from transitioning to the retirement they have worked decades to achieve. Let me share something with you about Jennifer, a CRNA who came to me last year convinced that she needed to work until age 65 despite having $1.2 million saved at age 60. And like so many CRNAs, she'd been trapped in this cycle of financial anxiety despite being a diligent saver her entire career. And what she discovered about her actual retirement readiness completely shifted her perspective on when she could step away from clinical practice. Jennifer's situation revealed three fundamental misconceptions that keep CRNAs trapped in the million-dollar retirement trap: the magic number obsession, the withdrawal rate paralysis, and the healthcare cost catastrophizing. The first misconception is the magic number obsession. This is the belief that there's a universal dollar amount that guarantees retirement security. And when I say magic number obsession, I'm referring to the fixation on round figures, like 1 million or 2 million, that financial publications constantly promote as retirement targets. This one-size-fits-all approach completely ignores your individual circumstances as a CRNA. A CRNA with a paid-off home in Tennessee faces completely different financial needs than one with a mortgage in California. Yet both are told to chase the same arbitrary target. This type of misconception creates constant anxiety. CRNAs find themselves wondering, am I behind? Will I ever have enough? Should I delay retirement another year or 5? But the irony is that many CRNAs with $800,000 could retire safely, while others with $1.5 million might need to keep working, yet everyone is chasing the same universal target. The second misconception is withdrawal rate paralysis. Now, this is the belief that following rigid withdrawal rules determines retirement success. And this is where CRNAs get stuck on the traditional 4% rule without understanding its limitations. They calculate 4% of their $1 million portfolio and get $40,000 annually, and then panic because that's nowhere near their current lifestyle. What they don't realize is that the 4% rule assumes you're starting Social Security immediately and have a traditional retirement timeline. But as a CRNA retiring at 60, you face a 7-year gap before full Social Security benefits. This means you'll initially withdraw much more than 4%, perhaps 7% or 8%. And that's perfectly acceptable when you know Social Security is coming to reduce that pressure. But the rigid application of withdrawal rate rules creates too much unnecessary fear that keeps capable CRNAs working longer than necessary. The third misconception is healthcare cost catastrophizing. This is the belief that medical expenses will inevitably consume retirement savings. And as healthcare professionals, CRNAs are acutely aware of medical costs. And this knowledge can become a liability in retirement planning. They imagine worst-case scenarios where medical bills drain their accounts, forgetting that they have advantages most retirees don't. Medical knowledge to make informed healthcare decisions, professional networks for quality care, and often better health habits from their clinical background. While healthcare costs require planning, the catastrophizing mindset leads to oversaving and delayed retirement. CRNAs end up working extra years to build an unnecessarily large healthcare buffer, missing years of healthy retirement that they could have enjoyed. These three misconceptions create the same problem. They prevent you from confidently knowing when your career obligations end and your retirement freedom begins. But there is a clearer path that flips this entire narrative. What CRNAs really want is to know that they can step away from clinical demands and still maintain the lifestyle that they've built. The trap keeps you focused on accumulation when you should be focused on distribution strategy. When we shift from how much do I need to how do I make what I have work for my actual life, everything changes. That clarity comes from understanding exactly what your retirement will cost, how your income sources will evolve, and how to bridge the gap between career end and Social Security beginning. And this approach starts with 3 key components: lifestyle mapping to understand your true expenses, income sequencing to optimize your withdrawal strategy, and flexibility planning to handle the unexpected. So instead of chasing an arbitrary target, you are designing a personalized system. And that's the principle behind what I call CRNA retirement reality planning, because it flips traditional retirement advice by planning backwards from your actual life to your savings strategy. Here's how CRNA retirement reality planning works in practice. And let me walk you through Jennifer's transformation. First, we mapped out her lifestyle reality. Instead of guessing at expenses, we analyzed her actual spending patterns. And we discovered she was living on about $6,500 per month after taxes during her working years. But when we projected retirement, several expenses would disappear. No more scrubs, reduced commuting, paid off mortgage by retirement, and lower clothing costs. Her actual retirement need was closer to $5,200 per month. Second, we sequenced her income sources strategically. With $1.2 million saved at age 60, Jennifer could bridge the gap to Social Security by withdrawing from her 403(b) during low tax years, thus preserving her Roth accounts for true tax-free growth later. We calculated that drawing $62,400 annually for 7 years would leave her portfolio at roughly $800,000 when Social Security kicked in at age 67. This was still well above what she'd need for the remainder of her retirement. And third, we built in flexibility. Instead of rigid projections, we created scenarios. What if healthcare costs more than expected? What if she wants to travel more in her go-go years? What if markets underperform? Each scenario had an adjustment strategy, removing the anxiety of unknown variables. So why does this approach work where traditional planning fails? Because it addresses the emotional need for certainty while respecting the mathematical realities of CRNA finances. So instead of hoping you've saved enough, you know exactly how your money will work for your specific situation. And the impact for Jennifer was immediate confidence. She retired at 61 instead of 65, gaining 4 extra years of healthy retirement. She's now traveling with her husband, volunteering at a free clinic on her terms, and enjoying the flexibility she dreamed of throughout her clinical career. But more importantly, she's not worried about money because she understands exactly how her plan works. That peace of mind, knowing your money will outlast your needs, is what true retirement security looks like for CRNAs. The $1 million retirement trap convinces successful CRNAs that having substantial savings means nothing without understanding how to deploy those savings strategically. But with CRNA retirement reality planning, you can map your actual lifestyle, sequence income sources intelligently, and build in flexibility to confidently answer whether you can retire at 60 with $1 million. And the answer for many CRNAs is yes, but it requires moving beyond generic advice to a personalized strategy that respects both your financial realities and your professional achievements. Now, before we go any further, I know that figuring out how this applies to your specific situation can feel overwhelming. You might be wondering if this applies to you, whether you're actually on track or if you can really retire earlier than you thought. And that's exactly why I have created a concise CRNA retirement readiness checklist that walks you through the big things you need to evaluate your readiness with. You can also schedule a complimentary retirement readiness review where I can walk you through your specific situation and show you where you stand on your retirement timeline. Click the first link in the description to download your free CRNA retirement checklist or schedule your call. Both are available in the show notes below. So now you know exactly what goes into making the right retirement decision as a CRNA and why your situation deserves more than a one-size-fits-all advice. If you're ready to move from uncertainty to confidence about your retirement timeline, now is the time to take action. Thanks for tuning in to Money RX for CRNAs. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. Remember, your financial future deserves the same level of precision and care that you bring to patient care every single day.
This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions. This podcast does not engage in rendering legal, financial, or other professional services.